And Tom, thank you very much. Now to a sex scandal involving the leader of one of the nation's best-known mega churches. Bishop Eddie Long is being accused of using jewelry, cars, and cash to lure 3 young men into sexual relationships. NBC's Ron Mott is in Decatur, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta with the details on this. Ron, good morning.
Matt, good morning to you. Eddie Long is one of the most popular and powerful ministers in this country. He's built a thriving religious empire here in the Atlanta area, and some of his staunchest supporters say he is being charged with something that he's not guilty of.
Somebody needs to celebrate that moment. Somebody needs to bless God for that.
He's hosted presidents, like here at the funeral of Coretta Scott King, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s widow.
We thank the King family, and we're in much prayer for you.
He preaches to tens of thousands at his mega church outside Atlanta. He counseled President Clinton during the Monica Lewinsky scandal, and most notably, he's been an outspoken opponent of homosexuality. But today, Eddie Long, who calls himself bishop, stands alone in the hot spotlight, sued in civil court by 3 former male members of his church for sexual coercion. No criminal charges have been filed. They say Long introduced them to his world of luxury, private jets, Rolls Royces, plying them with gifts, even putting them on the church payroll while pressuring them into having sex.
The bishop was grooming young men to be at his disposal. He finds them at 14 or 15 years of age. He starts to get a relationship with them at that primary time when a young man's really searching for his identity.
The men's attorney says Long sent another young male member of his church, not involved in the lawsuits, this picture of himself, dressed far differently than his usual tailored suits. Long has yet to speak publicly, but has denied the allegations through his lawyer. His spokesperson called it a shakedown.
There are a lot of things being said out there, but before rushing to judgment on Bishop Long in the court of public opinion, I really do hope that you would look at guys who are throwing mud and just consider the source right now.
Members of Long's New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, a congregation said to number 25,000, include popular Atlanta DJ Frank Ski, who also defended his pastor.
As a friend and an extended family member, I have loyalty, and I'm loyal to him and to his family. So I am standing by his side through this and even afterwards.
Part of the debate between supporters and detractors is motive. One of the accusers, 20-year-old Maurice Robinson, was arrested over the summer in connection with a burglary at Long's church. The case is still pending.
The First Church of Cannabis opened its doors today. It's on the south side at 3400 South Rural in a church building that was vacant until it was purchased by a church whose members plan to worship love by using marijuana. 24-Hour News 8's Jim Shella is here to report. It's part of the fallout from the RFRA law. Jim.
Lori, this is not the reason the Religious Freedom Restoration Act was signed by Governor Mike Pence, but the founder of the First Church of Cannabis believes the new law protects him and his desire to smoke marijuana legally. Bill Levin was in the pulpit today preaching about cannabis.
It's not marijuana, it's not pot, it's not weed, it's cannabis. Okay? Those slang terms are derogatory.
This would be easier with power tools. But
outside, the sign went up advertising weekly services at the First Church of Cannabis, ironically, across the street from where the Natural High Tree Service was at work. But then Levin considers marijuana natural.
It's a health supplement. We're hardwired. Our bodies are hardwired to receive the sacrament of cannabis.
His attorney believes its use in a religious ceremony is protected by RFRA.
I don't see them stopping every Roman Catholic service on Sunday morning where kids under the age of 21 are drinking alcohol. It doesn't happen.
This church already has 700 members who pay monthly dues of $4.20. The first service here will be on July 1st, the same day the RFRA law takes effect. Members are thanking Mike Pence.
And those that use cannabis as sacrament to get closer to themselves, each other, and God should have the right to do so.
But a next-door neighbor has a different view.
From what I understand, Mike Pence is rewording the law wrong. Can we take this building and set it in his neighborhood? Because we don't want it here. We do not want it here.
Because marijuana is illegal in Indiana, isn't it?
No, our FRA got us clear. We celebrate life with it.
He says it's the fastest growing religion in the world. The church will not buy, sell, or trade marijuana, according to Levin. The spokeswoman for prosecutor Terry Curry says marijuana possession is still a crime and there is no exception for where the possession takes place. RFRA, however, could be used as a defense.
Stick around to hear. 2 women in Metro Atlanta are accusing a local man of having sex with them and not telling them he was HIV positive. One of those women says she now has HIV. And police in Clayton County and Atlanta have charged the man in both cases. RJ Watson has been working this story and joins us with more. Hey, Jay.
Hey there, DeMarco. His name is Craig Davis, and he's been charged with reckless conduct by a person infected with HIV. Davis was in jail in Fulton and Clayton counties for 3 weeks, and tonight he's out on $30,000 bond. The story was broken by a local blogger who knows one of the alleged victims and Davis.
And that he is somewhat of a ladies' man, is how he described it. He said
William McCrae says he told Craig Davis he was writing a blog about him, and in just 3 days it has blown up. The story is that early this summer, 2 women who didn't know each other went to police alleging Craig Davis slept with them, alleging he had HIV and didn't tell them. Police investigated Davis, and 2 months later, he was arrested in Fulton and Clayton counties, charged with reckless conduct by a person infected with HIV.
they are really upset that he did not give them the opportunity to make the decision as to whether or not they would want to move forward and be sexually involved with him.
One 46-year-old alleged victim in Atlanta told police she was abstinent for 15 years until she began dating Davis. At her yearly checkup, the doctor advised her she tested positive for HIV. The alleged victim in Clayton County told police that the man she'd been having sex with recently told her he has HIV. In the police report, the victim says Davis told her, "With HIV, you can still live, and it's not the end." The woman also told police Davis was a pastor at a big church, and when she asked him why he didn't tell her, he advised because the Lord had told him to be still. We made contact with one of the women in the case. She did not want to comment. So far, she has tested negative for HIV.
We begin tonight with an Oklahoma pastor accused of fleecing his flock.
He allegedly embezzled so much money, church members were forced to close the doors. Kirsten McIntyre just returned from Beckham County, where the investigation is ongoing. Kirsten?
And Kelly, I'm told the Church of the Nazarene in Sayre had been around for about 80 years, but these days the doors are locked. And the district attorney says one man is to blame for that, the church's former pastor.
Truthfully, it was family. People were friendly.
For the past 16 years, Harry Swift has been a member of the Church of the Nazarene in Sayre. It's a special place for him. It's the church where he became a Christian. But despite his history here, the future is gone.
We just financially couldn't carry it. We still can't believe he did what he did.
Swift is referring to this man, Tim Zeman. He led the congregation in this small western Oklahoma town for about 4 years before scandal forced him out.
Of course, it's one of those deals, the deeper you get, the worse you find out it is.
Dennis Smith is a district attorney for Beckham County. He's already filed one criminal charge against Zeman, but says more are on the way in the coming weeks.
I wouldn't say this is a large congregation, but it's a congregation that I think had been good stewards of the money they had been blessed to receive, and now all of a sudden there's no church. And
Zeman is accused of stealing from the church's building fund and also mortgaging the church parsonage. Some estimate he swindled at least $125,000 and maybe more.
There's a lot of people that have been devastated because of this, and Mr. Zeman, as far as we're concerned, is a con man. And people should be aware of what he does and what he's done in his past.
A past that includes federal prison time for fraud. For some reason, his criminal record didn't show up when the church was hiring.
I forgave him for what he did, but I couldn't forgive him what he did to the church. He needs to serve his time just like everybody else.
And the sheriff's office tells me the FBI is also investigating Tim Zeman for fraud. New tonight on the Night Beat, disturbing allegations against a local pastor.
28-year-old Craig Burden is in the Tippecanoe County Jail tonight. He is facing charges of voyeurism. The Night Beat's Emily Longnecker traveled to West Lafayette, where his now former church is still coping with the news of his arrest.
God just told me through a number of ways and through a number of people that I had no idea the plans that he had for the rest of my life, and he was right.
For right now, though, the only plans former Calvary Baptist Church worship pastor Craig Burden has will have to take place behind bars here at the Tippecanoe County Jail. Investigators arrested Burden Friday on initial charges of voyeurism and vicarious sexual gratification, but wouldn't give other details about the allegations. A church spokesperson confirmed Burden had served as worship pastor here at Calvary Baptist Church for nearly the past 3 years, but said the church's personnel team suspended Burden Thursday and confiscated keys to his church office after learning of alleged inappropriate behavior. Friday evening, the decision was made to let Burden go. Burden has a long history with the church, attending first when he was a teenager.
And I immediately felt like, hey, I could actually come here. I think I could fit in with these people.
Burden went on to play drums in the church band before interning there in college.
I ended up coming back here in 2013 to assume the position of the worship pastor. So over the years, I've just had so many people that have blessed me through their time and their finances and just investing into my life here at Calvary and beyond.
Now, many of those same people have cut ties with Burden. Calvary Baptist Church released a statement which said in part, quote, "We at Calvary Baptist Church are deeply grieving the alleged actions of a former member of our staff. The biblical truth we stand on is in direct contrast to any form of exploitation, and we have taken swift and appropriate action."
Creflo Dollar was arrested on charges he punched and choked his teenage daughter. And as Dan Harris reports tonight, the pastor was back before his congregation preaching and pushing back.
Creflo Dollar's congregation stood and cheered as he took to the pulpit to defend himself.
The truth is that a family conversation with our youngest daughter got emotional. She was not choked. She was not punched. There were not any scratches on her neck, but the only thing on her neck was a prior skin abrasion from eczema.
Police say Dollar choked his 15-year-old daughter in the family mansion outside Atlanta.
The altercation actually stems from an argument over the 15-year-old attending a party.
He was arrested early Friday. The pinstripe-wearing, prosperity-preaching paragon of virtue, a man with a TV show that reaches 1 billion people and a private plane, looking supremely glum in his mugshot.
Anything you want to say to your congregation?
No, sir.
This is not his first brush with controversy. In 2008, Dollar and other televangelists were investigated by a U.S. senator for using tax-free donations to fund their lavish lifestyles.
If you don't know no better, you'll stay in the ghetto all your life.
Just as his followers stood by him during the Senate investigation, which ultimately found no wrongdoing, they appear ready to back their pastor yet again.